She laughed at our engagement party. I'm marrying him for the money. So I raised my glass and exposed the truth that ended us instantly. At our engagement party, I walked into the country club believing it would be a night to celebrate love, partnership, and a future that I thought we were building together. Cassidy looked stunning in a designer dress her mother had helped pick, her hair styled perfectly, and her smile radiating as though she was living in a fairy tale. Her parents had gone all out, hosting around 150 guests in a lavish ballroom filled with champagne glasses, expensive centerpieces, and soft music playing in the background. People were laughing, toasting, and pretending that everything about this evening was a glimpse into a promising future. I too believed that for a while. After all, I was 31, a self-made man who had worked relentlessly to build a software development company from scratch, spending years putting in 80-hour weeks and sacrificing sleep, friendships, and comfort to create the life I now lived. My efforts paid off because today I earned nearly $400,000 after taxes each year, owned a beautiful home, drove a Tesla, and could finally breathe knowing that all my struggles growing up poor were not for nothing. Cassidy, my fiancée, was 28 and worked part-time as a yoga instructor while trying to build a career as a social media influencer. She managed to earn around $30,000 in a good year. On paper, we were from two different worlds, but I had always convinced myself that what we had was real, that her love for me wasn't tied to numbers or status. For 2 years together and 3 months engaged, I thought we were partners. But that night, I learned something that would change my life forever. The evening was filled with speeches, toasts, and stories about love, but everything took a sharp turn when Cassidy's cousin asked a simple question. How did you know he was the one? Cassidy had already had more than a few glasses of champagne by then, and with a giggly smile, she replied, Well, I looked at my bank account, then looked at his and thought, yeah, I could get used to this. Nervous chuckles filled the room, but the atmosphere shifted instantly. Her father shifted in his seat, looking uncomfortable, and I felt a knot form in my stomach. Her cousin pressed on, clearly expecting a different answer. But seriously, you love him, right? Cassidy flashed a bright smile and said, Of course I do. I love his house, his Tesla, and his investment portfolio. This time the laughter that followed was uneasy, awkward, as if people were trying to pretend it was just another drunken joke. She tried to cover it by adding, I'm just kidding, but honestly, after dating broke artists and struggling musicians, finally finding someone with real money was like, thank God. I mean, obviously I'm marrying him for the money. The room froze for a second before bursting into laughter, not because they found it funny, but because they didn't know what else to do. I laughed too, though inside I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me. Still, I kept my cool, raised my glass, and with a smile said, Good thing we signed that prenup this morning, right, babe? That sentence changed everything. The color drained from Cassidy's face instantly. Her smile dropped, and the giggles vanished. She stared at me with wide eyes, whispering, What? I repeated calmly, The prenup, the one your dad's lawyer suggested we should get. I thought it was a smart move, right, Reggie? I turned to her father with an innocent look. He frowned, clearly confused, and said, I never suggested a prenup. I shrugged. Oh, my mistake. But either way, Cassidy signed the papers this morning. Simple terms. What's mine before marriage stays mine, what's hers stays hers. Totally fair. Cassidy shot to her feet so quickly that her champagne glass tipped over, spilling across the tablecloth. Her voice rose sharp with panic. We need to talk. Now. I gave her a calm smile. After the party, sweetheart. She snapped, No, now, and stormed out toward the hallway. I followed behind her, but not before catching my best friend Dale's eye. He was recording the entire thing on his phone. In the hallway, Cassidy turned on me with fury. What prenup? I didn't sign anything like that. I kept my voice level. The papers you signed at breakfast. 3 copies. Even had them notarized by Janet from my office. Her face twisted in horror as she cried out, Those were wedding venue contracts. You tricked me. I tilted my head, watching her carefully. Funny. Because you just announced in front of a room full of people that you're marrying me for my money. Was that a joke too? Tears streamed down her face as mascara ran, her perfect image crumbling. I can't believe you'd do this to me, she sobbed. I shook my head. I can't believe you'd humiliate me in front of everyone by admitting you're a gold digger. She screamed, I am not a gold digger. To which I calmly replied, then the prenup shouldn't matter. Her hand flew across my face, the slap echoing through the empty hallway. We're done. The wedding's off. I nodded, unshaken. Okay, if a prenup is enough to make you walk away, then that tells me everything I needed to know. She spun around, storming back into the ballroom, yelling that I had deceived her. But from the look on everyone's faces, it was clear who had just exposed themselves. Here's the secret that nobody in that room knew except me. There was no prenup. The documents she signed that morning were exactly what she thought they were. Venue contracts. But her explosive reaction to the mere mention of a prenup told me more about her intentions than anything else could have. In the days that followed the engagement party, my phone buzzed nonstop, my inbox overflowed, and the story spread like fire among friends and family. Cassidy had packed her bags immediately and driven back to her parents' house, stuffing as much as she could into the Range Rover that I had bought for her. She left behind a note calling me a manipulative psychopath, painting herself as the victim. But what followed only proved that the truth had been right there in front of me all along. Her mother called the next morning, her voice cold and accusing. She didn't call to apologize for Cassidy's drunken confession about marrying me for money. No. Instead, she said, you humiliated our family. Fix this. I replied calmly, your daughter announced she was marrying me for money. That wasn't my doing. She insisted that Cassidy had just been joking, but I reminded her, I never claimed she signed a prenup. I only asked if it was good that we signed one. She assumed and panicked. Her mother hung up in frustration. An hour later, her father called. His voice was different, tired, heavy. Son, tell me the truth. Is there a prenup? I paused, then said, no. Silence stretched before he finally spoke. But she thought there was, and she broke up with you over it. All within a minute of believing it was true. He sighed deeply. I'm sorry. I always suspected the way she talked about your money, but I hoped I was wrong. For what it's worth, I think you dodged a bullet. But Cassidy wasn't finished. She went on social media posting a long rant about how I was a narcissist, how I manipulated her trust, and how I used legal tricks to trap her. Conveniently, she left out the part where she publicly declared she was marrying me for money. Her friends flooded my inbox with hate messages, calling me a monster. But then Dale, my best friend, uploaded the video he had recorded that night. Every word, every laugh, every nervous chuckle was there for the world to see. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. People wrote comments like, did she really just admit she was a gold digger? And, the way she panicked over a prenup tells you everything you need to know. As the weeks passed, Cassidy's carefully crafted image began to crumble. The Range Rover I bought her was still in my name, so at my lawyer's advice, I had it repossessed. When she called screaming that I stole her car, I calmly said, check the title. It's mine. Her mother tried to threaten me into returning it, but I stood firm. Then things got even worse for Cassidy when a close friend of hers privately reached out to me with screenshots. Cassidy had spent months bragging about her plan to secure the bag with me. She even had a Pinterest board titled Trophy Wife Life, filled with pictures of my house, screenshots of my company's valuation, and articles on how to quickly get pregnant after marriage. There was even a detailed 5-year plan. Marry me, quit working, have 2 kids for security, and if divorce happened, maximize support payments. One message stood out above all. The only thing I have to avoid is signing a prenup. I forwarded everything to her father. His response was short but telling, Jesus Christ. Days later, he called back, his voice like ice. I've seen enough. I'm cutting her off. No more credit cards. No more allowance. She has 30 days to find a job and a place to live. Even her own parents could no longer defend what she had become. Cassidy tried to win me back, showed up at my office in tears, begged for forgiveness, claimed the Pinterest board and the messages were all jokes. But I saw the rage flicker in her eyes the moment I mentioned that her own best friend had sent me the proof. She demanded her engagement ring back, a $45,000 diamond I had bought her. But I reminded her it was a conditional gift, only meant to be hers if marriage happened. No wedding, no ring. She keyed my Tesla out of spite, and security escorted her away. Cameras caught everything and I filed a report. Months passed, and her world fell apart. She lost her social media deals after the video went viral. Friends distanced themselves. She ended up sleeping on a cousin's couch, jobless and desperate. Her father even confided in me later that he and her mother regretted enabling her all these years. He started a foundation to teach financial responsibility, asking me to join the board. The irony was almost too much when Cassidy applied for a grant from that very foundation. Needless to say, she was denied. As for me, I moved on. I began dating someone new, a pediatric surgeon named Heather who made twice what I did and who laughed when I told her about the prenup story, saying she would have signed a real one without hesitation because she protected her own assets too. Being with someone who truly wanted partnership instead of a paycheck was refreshing beyond words. Cassidy, on the other hand, continued down a path of self-destruction. Her final move was investing what little she had into her new boyfriend's cryptocurrency project, which collapsed almost overnight, wiping out everything she owned. She posted a tearful video online, calling him another narcissist who took advantage of her, but the comments were brutal. One person simply wrote, "Maybe stop dating for wallets and start dating for character." That video vanished within hours. And me? I can't help but feel that sometimes the best revenge isn't anything you actively do. Sometimes it's just standing back and letting a person destroy themselves with their own choices. Cassidy wanted a husband she could exploit. Instead, she lost everything while I gained something priceless: freedom, peace, and the knowledge that I escaped a lifetime of manipulation by speaking one simple sentence at the right moment.